Welcome to the Purity Pulse podcast, your go-to podcast for the natural health industry and everything purity life. So on episode 10, today is the second part of the interview where we have Sanjiv, Mike, and Michel from M2. So stay tuned. It was a great second part.
I'm going to bring it over back to Michel. What, in kind of your whole pathway to success, what do you think has been your biggest challenge within this industry?
Imposter syndrome, going back to something that Sanjiv mentioned earlier. When I started M2, I was 26. And so imposter syndrome combined with little to no experience. I used to lie about my age. I did for years. And it was clients that have been with M2 since the beginning actually can attest to that, because I eventually caught up to the age that I was lying to, or lying about. And so that was really difficult, and something I don't live anymore at all. But it took me a long time to kind of be really confident in what I was doing. And to do that, you have to, as an entrepreneur. I mean, there's always going to be a certain amount of fake it until you make it. And so you pretend to know something while you figure out what that something is. And so I definitely went through that a lot in my younger years. Not so much anymore. And yeah, it's just, it was definitely a challenge. Luckily, again, it's an industry where I love everyone in this industry. I love this industry. And I remember when I was younger as well, kind of at those first trade shows going, everybody is so close. How am I going, like kind of like that new kid at school, like how am I going to get into the in crowd or
break into that,
kind of be accepted. And so it took some years. And I think that was really I think the biggest challenge was probably myself and that imposter syndrome. And then just kind of getting into the groove of the health food industry, the health food space. It is a bit of a different industry. And I think that really would be it for me.
How about you, Mike? Any big challenges that you've really had to overcome?
One of my biggest challenges was just product knowledge and understanding what all of the different products and ingredients and what everything is and does and trends. I started out in supply chain and from outside of the industry. And so coming into the industry is significantly different than conventional products, obviously. And I didn't live the natural products lifestyle prior to starting in the industry. So it was quite overwhelming. And honestly, it still can be now for me since I didn't grow up using products, my whole life, just to understand all of the technical product knowledge, I would say would be one of my biggest challenges for sure. I've tried to overcome that by going to as many, vendor trainings and sales trainings and, read and learn as much as I can, but I'd say I still have a long way to go for sure.
And trying all the products, having your green drinks every day and all of that, right?
That's good. One of the nice things of being in the position I'm in now is I get all kinds of samples that I can try and touch and feel and see what everything's all about. So that's great.
Awesome. Best to try. That's the best way to learn. That's for sure. And
Sanj, any contributions there? Any major challenges?
I would say no. It's a pretty cool industry to be in. It's one of those places where when a challenge did come up, I could phone Matthew, and I had nothing to do with his business, but I get advice. I mean, I'm really blessed. I think the challenges we've had is more internally, just how to keep up with our growth. But I just find it's such a amazing place to be where you can just pick up a phone and call someone and say, "What do you think?" And they're willing to share with you. So I think for me, that's been in it. And the challenges I have are more my own challenges mentally that I put on myself, that problems don't exist, but they exist in my head. You know what I mean?
Isn't that funny that we hear that come back time and time again, right?
Yeah, the imposter syndrome, right? And it's fascinating because years ago I would say we would be thinking that women's were bringing that a lot more to the front, but hearing you guys, I mean, it makes it really real that it's everybody,
Yeah.
definitely that phase that you get to a point, you get to that level of success that you're like, whoa, okay, this is too much. I can't do more. And then, as you say, Sanjiv, you're your own biggest challenge because you put the brake. It's enough. I've done enough, or I can't do more. So, very interesting. We'll definitely dig further in that imposter syndrome.
Yeah, I was thinking the
Yes.
same thing. That'll be a
Absolutely.
topic for a future podcast for
Yes.
sure. Should we jump into a bit of
Yes.
rapid fire? All right.
Yes.
Okay. A little bit of a switch of topic here, but we're going to do round robins. Sanj, we've got you front facing. What's your favorite natural health product?
MAP.
Hard question. Yeah. Okay.
I would
Mike?
say MAP.
Oh, sorry.
Map, yeah.
Me? Right now it's the Educated Beards beard oil.
Nice.
Your shiny
working
beard.
well.
Yeah, it's working well. Michelle.
Skin Food Light. We're going back into that fall season, so my skin's getting really dry over here in Quebec.
Yeah, it's
Tried
a
and
staple.
true. Yeah.
Definitely a staple in
Yeah.
Quebec and everywhere, because that's definitely a product that has been around for years and is still super, very much loved, I would
I
say.
always go back to it.
Yes. Which natural health products would you recommend universally? Like that would be, we just talk about staple with you, Michelle, but that would be good for everybody. That we say that's a must for all of you. Let's start by you, Michelle. We'll finish by you. We'll start by you.
I have to pick one. Okay, if I'm going to pick one, I would say a solid multivitamin.
Multivitamins, okay?
Definitely universal.
Yes.
Mike?
Well, based on what I said before, I don't think I'm in a position to give advice, but if I have to, I would say a good multivitamin and a probiotic.
Oh, good. Yeah, those are both very universal.
Yes.
How about you, Sanjeev?
I'd say a B complex.
Oh,
Most people usually lack energy or have adrenal issues, and I think for me that's the fundamental.
Energy,
Yeah,
right?
that's a good one.
That's a good base.
Well, and often the first thing you start seeing the deficiencies in, if there's any digestive issues and whatnot too. Yeah, so that's
Absolutely.
pretty wide.
Okay.
All right, this is a bit of an interesting one. So, is there any particular men's marketing campaign that stands out to you, and why?
Could be a
Sanjeev.
TikTok. Could be a TikTok
Yeah.
one. It's everywhere now.
Sanjeev, why don't you start us off?
I would say Saks Underwear. Those guys do a great job on marketing. I think in our space, we need to do more to be out there. I think the new beard products are doing a good job of getting men to cross over into our space. I don't think a lot of our marketing is doing that crossover into men outside of our natural set. How do you get the other one? So I would say the new bearded products are doing a much, much better job.
It's a good one.
Good.
Michelle or Mike, anything that stands out?
I was full disclosure Googling, but yeah, there was because I don't remember.
I saw you.
It wasn't in the health food space, but I think to me something that really stood out when it comes to men recently was there are some cereal ads, and I would love to be able to pull it up in time. But there are some cereal ads where it's same-sex family with children, and it was just, to me, it really stood out as something that was different, and it was something that was normalizing. So it was nice to see.
Very good. Yes. Mike, anything that pops to your mind? A hockey something?
Maybe a bit of a cop out, but it's the first thing that popped into my mind was the Prairie Naturals Forever Fit promotion that they did with Trevor Linden, and that was at the show a little while back. They actually, I think, won an award for that, so that's the first thing that popped into my head.
Yeah, they've done a great job with their marketing to men's, because it is definitely a growing category. It's no longer just the wife that buys supplements for men, but also men's that are more aware of their own health and health issues. And I think that by choosing Trevor Linden, that has connected and will continue to connect with men's a lot more. So a great example, for sure. A quick fun question. If we look into products that are traditionally marketed for women, is there some products or some categories that you would see that could be or should be in the men's space as well? That's a tricky question, maybe.
It's a good question.
I wish for those listening, I wish you could have seen Mike's face when that question was asked, because it kind of got scrunched up like,
I was like, what is that question, Julie? Can you say it in English instead of French?
Anybody can jump in.
Yes,
if anybody's got an idea.
I can hop in on that one and save Mike and Sanjiv. So I think that it's interesting because, the younger generations there's definitely the lines are being blurred a bit more. And so I think when we're talking about, facial care or something like concealer or foundation, these are products that are generally geared towards women. We're seeing more and more usage from men. It used to be something where it was I had friends in high school that would use some concealer just to cover up acne scars, stuff like that. And so I think that it's becoming a little bit more mainstream. I could see brands gearing more towards non-female identifying or non-women identifying people for something like a foundation, something basic, concealer, that type of thing. I think we're going to see more and more of. We haven't seen it too much in the health food space yet, but I think it's probably coming.
Yeah, it's coming for sure.
I think that's an excellent point, because if we look at trends and brands that are, and we were even looking at category management in a way, and it will get blurrier. Yeah. Like having a men's set, or it's gonna melt. Like it's gonna be amalgamated with other products, and I think the makeup or concealer is the same. So it'll take a while, but I mean, we're starting to see it because people are not just the identifying is changing.
Yeah.
So it's not this is for you, this is for you, this is for you. It's here's the offer.
Yeah.
You use whatever fits you. And one thing in conventional, when I worked in close to perfume before, you had like certain categories like the musk and those stronger scent, that this was men's, and the flower and all the lighter were for women. That doesn't exist anymore. Yeah. I know for a fact that a lot of women's would use men's perfume because they like the scent, and that's the end of it. So we don't put labels anymore. So
it's really it's really starting to change our language too, right? It's not necessarily the men's section and the women's section anymore.
No, and we've started to do that in store actually when we look at what's on the shelf and how we do category management. We're starting to blur those lines, and it works really well actually.
Yeah.
So
no.
Michel, you've done well with that question. 3 stars.
All right. Sanjiv, do you remember what your first natural product was that you used?
Protein powder. Back in the day when they were grainy and
chalky.
Tasted horrible in the 80s.
Yeah.
Jolie. That's a good question.
This will be a fun question for Mike.
Yes.
You know what? It would have been the same thing when I was a teenager, going to the gym, trying to think I was all cool and get big and buff, and it was the horrible. I don't remember which one, but a horrible protein powder.
Yeah.
Michel, did you want to be big and buff too?
Always, but me it was, and it's funny because I can actually I can imagine this vividly. I remember it. It was, for some reason, I was maybe 6 or 7, and it was a tofu dog. I want to say Eve's, but I, for some reason, just took it out of the fridge and took a bite out of it cold. And it haunts me to this day. Like I remember the taste now, 33 years later.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Quite the
and let's do a last one here.
Right.
I love natural personal care, and so what is your skincare regimen, gentlemen?
Ooh.
Are we past the bar soap in the shower, or where are we at? Mike, let's start with you.
Are you sure you really want to know?
Well, we know you're using beard oil, so that's got to be a thing.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, we get samples, so I try different things. Currently, my shampoo in the shower is the Attitude Super Leaves Curl Enhancing Shampoo.
Curl enhancing,
So
that's important for
I'll
you.
wash my hair, face, everything with the shampoo, and then whatever bar of soap sample we have. And then out of the shower, it's the beard oil, and then I'm done.
Good. Well, you know what's going to happen to you next week? You'll have a full skincare regimen right on your desk with a prescription from me.
I knew you weren't going to like that one, Julie.
The sample box is on the
And
way.
that regimen will go on the counter, and there it will stay.
Help. I'd probably need the same help with you, Julie.
Glad to help. Glad to help. So your similar routine than Mike, from the shampoo to the face, and then...
I don't even do anything for face. It's just shampoo, conditioner, maybe, and soap works, soap, and I'm done. I mean, that's quite simple. So
Oh, boy.
That's
Right.
surprising to me.
regime now, and and that's something we take for granted. We're in the industry, but we don't even walk in and say, "Hey, what do you think I need?" So much. I have to call you too and say, "How do I do this?"
But it's what is fascinating is once you start gentlemen on certain products, like even eye gel, because you're working in front of a computer, your eyes get tired. When you use just a moisturizer or an aftershave, I'm thinking about the Willita aftershave that smells wonderful. Also very soothing, reduces the chance of having ingrown hair. Where your beard, if you shave, when you just add a couple of products like that, you guys are really loyal in the sense that if it's not complicated and it makes you feel good, then you're one for life. So I'll be on the quest with the two of you. And Michel, what about you?
I don't think anybody will be surprised when you learn that I have a very extensive regimen. I grew up in a household where my mother was drilled into us at a very young age. You don't treat wrinkles when you have wrinkles. You treat wrinkles before you get them. And so I, no word of a lie, was using wrinkle cream at 16. And so I currently, there is a cleanser, there is a toner, there is a scrub a couple of times a week. I generally stack a few serums, one on top of the other. Eye cream, day cream, night cream, masks. Luckily I do what I do for a living. So, the 350 bottles of product in my bathroom are free or close to it. But yeah, I definitely have a regimen. I'm actually 74.
Yeah.
I knew it.
I knew it. But your glowing skin is fabulous. So keep doing what you're doing. Proud of you. Well,
I think that should do it. I mean, we've
yes.
certainly learned a lot about these men. This has been a fantastic episode. Thanks so much for coming, guys. This has been great.
Thank you for
Hope
having
you had
me.
I hope you had a
Thank you.
great time, because that was fantastic. Thank you for your time. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
So for our new to Purity Life, we're extremely excited to announce that Purity Life has acquired the assets of Indigo Natural Foods.
Yes, big deal. Mm-hmm. Not to be confused with the broker Indigo Natural Products.
That is correct. And for those who don't know Indigo, it is a Toronto-based distributor servicing the Toronto area and founded by John Anthony back in 1996. And Indigo distribute many brands that were similar to Purity Life.
Yeah, and it means that we'll be able to list a bunch of other new brands. So we're Ecomax,
Yeah.
Sanjay as well, Stash Tea.
Absolutely. So new things to Purity Life. And to ensure that customers and vendors are taken care of, joining Purity Life, Melissa Schlegel, and she's 10 years veteran with Indigo, so she'll be very helpful in the transition. Mm-hmm. And also Emily Douglas, who will assist within all the changes.
Always something new at Purity Life.
That is very correct, Erin. And we're always growing, and we always want to serve you better, customers, retailers, and our vendor partner, and make sure that we remain in line with our easy to do business with.
That's right. And that's it for that episode. Such a fun one, the men's health one. Oh man, I could talk with those guys forever.
I know. Very entertaining.
So definitely like and subscribe. Send us your feedback to marketing@purelylife.com. Keep an eye on our Instagram, Purity Life Health Products LP, and I'm at Erin G. Macklin.
And I'm JD_girl power.
And join us next week when we talk about natural health products for beginners.
Can't wait.